Good morning, everyone. I've got my DG360 mug. Today is Thursday, the 6th. Inside Star Citizen review with DG360 is this evening. So I'm building up some anticipation for that. But as I was in game mode, thinking about Star Citizen and DG360 and uh, watching videos in the morning, having my coffee, I came across, or this one came up, TYT. I watch a lot of TYT videos. Um, and this, I don't want to share the video, but this TikToker was featured in one of the TYT videos. And I want to play just a second of it. And remember, I was in kind of my game head, thinking about video games while
I
I
don't
was watching
understand why
this.
we don't have more community based or dorm style housing for adults. Hear me out. We live in a time where I'm currently staring at my phone instead of interacting with another human. We are lonelier than ever as a whole, and it's no surprise because humans literally evolved to be hunter gatherers. We were meant to be living in small, tight knit communities where we had strong connections with a decent number of people, ate with people every day, have physical touch every day, do communal things every single day, all the time. And I'm not saying we should go back to being hunter gatherers, right? Like we shouldn't reverse all of our technological advances,
And
but we should
most people are
try to get more community in our lives
douche
because
nozzles,
we're
so I don't.
desperately lacking it.
One of the coolest things about
Okay, and here's the one. So the TikToker is Ali underscore 202 underscore question mark, whatever that is. I'll just go here and she does some stuff. I've never seen her uh, page before. So that's her. But she was pointing out something that I had been thinking about for actually years and years and years and years, and I've kind of touched on it here and there in conversations. But game theory, this right here, is sort of my thinking on this, or sort of the idea with Ali. And I want to go back just to have a happy face. Can I do a happy face? Can we do a happy face? That's happy enough. That's happy enough face. Oh, and God, I forget this guy's name too. Anyway, he mentions Andrew Yang, and why he was so popular is because of his ideas on universal basic income. And I would go a step further. I didn't watch this whole video, but Andrew Yang was also aware of, I want to say, what I call techno-socialism, uh, because of advancing technology, because AI, not the full Ultron AI, but the AI that is replacing jobs. I used to be a journeyman painter for Freightliner. I painted semi-truck cabs, which I had to step away from after a few years because it was literally killing me. I was on antibiotics and steroids and pumping drugs into me left and right just to keep me going because of all the toxin. There was still, when I first started, there was still lead in the paint. Probably explains a great deal about what's wrong with me. Um, but now, even if I wanted to go back and use that skill that I learned, I couldn't. That job no longer exists. Robots, thankfully so, have come in and done that job. They do a better job and it's less dangerous for them. They're not going to get chronic sinus infections or lung problems or of genetic or DNA damage from being exposed to lead and all the carcinogens that are in the paints. Uh, they are designed to do it. Humans are not. So most jobs, and I am calling this, I'm sure somebody else, I'm sure I read it somewhere else, techno-socialism. Uh, because 1945 socialism can never exist anymore. That was an idea originally that humans all get paid the same, people get paid the same to do whatever their job doing to keep it all equal. Well, that's never going to happen. That's that's pretending. That's MAGA Trumplicans thinking you can go back in time and just make it like it was back then, and we can't. That genie, the technology genie, is never going back in the bottle. You're never going to have industrial painters painting vehicles. You're going to have the side shops that do it, sure, but the industrial vehicles are all done by robots, and rightfully so. And now, as we move into the 2020s, excuse me, um, more and more higher thought jobs. We all know TurboTax, right? That used to be a lot of people's full-time job. An accountant, a tax accountant, that is a job. The doing the books. As a company, you would pay somebody to do that. Now, I still pay an accountant to have her stamp put on it so that the IRS doesn't look at me, but I use TurboTax. Or no, sorry, I use QuickBooks. QuickBooks. So that has displaced, I would guess, hundreds of thousands of accounting jobs that are never coming back. Uh, on Trump's campaign, I'll get to it. On Trump's campaign, he was promising to bring coal back, bring the jobs back for coal miners. I, at the time, I mean, I never liked Trump, but at the time, I was saying, how can anybody believe this foolishness? That's just wishful thinking, wanting to go back in time to a time that you thought was great and ignoring technology. Uh, so the idea of socialism and how everybody's against it, how the right wing is so triggered by it, will never happen. So they're triggered by a fantasy. It's like being triggered by Spider-Man. It's not a real thing. It was a fun fantasy story back then. It never happened. And taking the idea of 1945 socialism and bringing it into 2022 is even more ridiculous because it's not humans doing the work anymore. Techno-socialism, kind of my point, part of my point about this video, techno-socialism would be, in my thinking, the idea that robots are doing most of the work and humans shouldn't starve to death and die or shoot each other or be stressed out and kill each other like rats, too many rats in a cage, because advancements in technology have made it so that we don't have to do the shitty jobs anymore. Uh, Socialism based on technology and automation. Uh, Pretty simple, but a lot of people, from what I've seen online, don't think about it. But this person was talking about uh, dorm rooms for adults. So, in thinking about Star Citizen and video games, I'm a huge gamer. Even though I don't play a lot, I watch like sports. People watch sports. I watch video games, the commentary on video games. But the idea is that we use for designing video games, as I'm watching the design of video games, they're using game theory. And game theory in the Wikipedia and in the definitions are more broad and sort of specific. But for game theory in the colloquial sense is that you want to make a game balanced. You want to make it so that everybody wants to play, even the people at the beginning. In fact, for me, uh, I actually enjoy the initial buildup of games like Valheim. I enjoy the small stuff, building the first outpost and doing when it gets bigger and you have to put more effort and more time. When I'm writing down recipes at that point, I'm I'm almost checking out. I have my wingman do that. Uh, so in today's society, we're still using capitalism and feudalism. which is designing a game that no one at the bottom wants to play. Uh, that's what we have now. Nobody at the bottom wants to play. If in Star Citizen you die repeatedly and you just can't get a handle on the game, you just can't make it. It's you're having issues for whatever reason, and the game, and take any game, but in Star Citizen as an example, when you die repeatedly, you will always have a bare minimum room, bed. It will never be, if you're designing a good game and the game that they want, it will never be so unpleasant that you don't want to play. The whole point of games and using game theory, as I'm thinking of it, is to make the game fun and playable for as many people as possible at every stage. And that's in end stage capitalism. That is not what we have. Uh, and there's no mainstream politician. Biden isn't talking about it. Trump isn't talking about it. Uh, anyone that isn't a gamer or a futurist or a technologist or someone that's interested in the now, what's possible now, uh, fossils, boomers, the classic, not just older people, not just that generation, but the boomer mentality, uh, don't even understand that reality exists. That we have techno-socialism, or that techno-socialism is different from 1945 boomer socialism, and that boomer socialism is dead forever. So they're arguing against a dinosaur that will never be. So my hope is that more people uh, in her generation, and people that are aware of what's going on are able to educate more and more people that most of our problems, particularly it's the 6th, a couple days after the 4th of July and all the shootings uh, are directly tied to stress and economics and a hopelessness for the future, and understandable. Boy, it's bleak. But imagine how much less shooting, how much less stress and murders and suffering if we could guarantee, at the very least, every citizen a room, a bathroom, and a kitchenette to hold their most dear belongings and be able to build from there. If you are a drug addict and you are in the end stages and you just can't function, you can't hold down a job, your family's abandoning you, I think as an American citizen, or as a citizen in a technologically advanced society, you should never be out on the street and neglected and walked past and thought of as inhuman. Uh, we should be able to have at least a bare minimum respect for life, and all of our struggles in it. I have stumbled quite a few times, and luckily I always had friends and family. I was charming enough uh, in my younger years that people actually wanted to continue to help me, and I am eternally grateful. But a lot of people don't have that, uh, and when they stumble, they often can't get back up. So in light of this TikToker's idea, uh, dorm rooms for everyone, I think we should government housing, I guess, is the unpleasant way to put it. But in light of also Andrew Yang and his advertising of universal basic income, I think along with a universal basic income should be, I think more importantly, a bottom basic safety net lifestyle. A room, a bed, bathroom, small kitchenette, a basic dorm room that you can hide in and get through the multitude of life's traumas that we have to deal with. And if you don't have the family and friends, or you're just not charming, you're old and broken and bitter, I think a lot of people would be less panicked and less likely to panic and lash out if they knew they always had a place to hide. Yay! Thought of the morning, having my coffee, waiting for Inside Star Citizen and the Inside Star Citizen review with DG360. Uh, yeah, I think that's it. More coffee. Peace.